Today we're looking at the Lexus GX 550 Overtrail Plus, a massive SUV. As you can see, it's super competent off-road. It made it out here no problem. It's also super comfortable on-road, and Toyota hasn't ruined it with a stupid 4-cylinder. In here we have the V35-FTS, a V6 that is 3.445 liters. Also, there's an intake here, and also an intake over here, because this is a twin-turbo V6. There's one for each bank that feeds 3 of the cylinders for all of the power. This is far from the first time that Toyota has used the V35A, but at 350 horsepower, that's actually the least power it's ever made. This isn't just a simple detune though to avoid stepping on the LX's toes. It's actually because the turbos in this are the smallest that they have fit to the engine, which might sound like a bad thing, but it means that your torque comes on faster and harder down low, which is really what you want when you're ripping off-road. And it's not like they have skimped on the torque. You get 479 pound-feet of it, which also just so happens to be the maximum the 10-speed transmission will take. Up top, we have a fluid-to-air heat exchanger that feeds down to the intercoolers here, so we don't have any fake vents, except for right there, and also right there. But most of this is functional. There are a few more things that I appreciate in here. The radiator fan is clutched and run off of the engine instead of electronic. You also have direct and port injection, so you don't need to worry about carbon buildup. As of 2025, the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus trims get a 1-inch lift, bringing your ground clearance up to 9.8 inches. We've also got some proper tires and some proper rims. These are 18 inches, which is great. I don't want to have 22s on this. That'll just ruin your ride quality, and they're wrapped in open country all-terrain 2s from Toyo. The chassis for the GX is body on frame. For suspension in the front, we have a double wishbone, whereas in the rear, we have a 4-link with a panhard bar because we have a solid rear axle. The benefit of having a solid rear axle is that when one side gets pushed up, the other gets pushed down, which is great when you're going over rocks and stuff off-road, and it's not very comfortable on-road. Back here we also have a cut exhaust tip to help with your departure angle, and right here we have where your tow hitch will go. And this thing, she-do tow. It can do over 9,000 pounds of it. Around back we have a light bar that stretches all the way across, very cool. And also we have a window that opens up, also very cool. This being a luxury Lexi, of course it has a power tailgate. It goes up quite nicely. Oh, watch out, Mr. Deity. You're doing just fine. This will record our exhaust later. In the trunk, we have loads of space, and we also have cup holders, but no seats for those cup holders because this is a 5-seat configuration. There also is a 7-seater available in some of the other trims, but I think if you want 7 seats, just get a van. Back here we get 400 watts of AC, and on the other side we have an air compressor. This guy is stupid simple to use. You just connect the hose right here, set your PSI, and then it handles everything else. Inflate, deflate, just plug it in and go. I wonder what this is. Oh, a bottle jack. Maybe we'll use that. Hopping into the back seat, we can see our very nice seats. In here, the color is Chateau with black trim, and they are very comfortable. I have just enough room to fit an adult behind an adult, and there is plenty of headroom. If you want, you can get some of the luxury trims, which have fancy captain seats back here, but then you have one of the luxury trims in an off-roading vehicle. You are dumb. In the armrest, you have 2 cup holders. Up here, we have heated seats for the rear and also 2 USB-C ports. And if you have any haters, you don't have to see them. Hopping into the front seat, this is probably my favorite Lexus Toyota interior I have ever been in, and I've been in a lot. Everything is super comfortable. It feels very premium, very, very solid. And also everything that you want to have buttons has buttons, and the stuff that you want to have buttons but doesn't have buttons at least has dedicated spots on your touchscreen. My only small complaint about the interior is that there isn't quite as much storage as I would expect in a car that's this freaking huge. We do have 2 cup holders here. There's a silly little 12-volt under that little thing, and we have a cool box right here so you can keep your Coca-Colas or what have you very nice and cool. Or my sunglasses, because there's no sunglasses holder. What the hell, Toyota? All right, let's do some off-roading. Now, I suspect that the approach and departure angles, 26 and 21, are going to be the bottleneck here. So let's test that out first. We went through this ditch no problem in the shallow part, but what if I go in the not so shallow part of this ditch. How does it look, Andy?
Seems fine.
It's fine?
Yeah, definitely fine.
Definitely fine?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. No, we just bonked off the spare tire. That's fine. All right, we have a comically bumpy bit of road here. Let's see how it handles it. It does not really care at all, although it does really make me appreciate those seats that were in the TRD Pro. I'm feeling more in my butt, even though I think the car itself is smoother. I'm sure that 90% of the time, the 10% of the people that actually take these off-road will just be on stuff like this, your standard Forest Service road. And on these, the GX is exceptional. It is so incredibly smooth that your passengers probably could fall asleep while you're going down one of these. Yeah, Andy's straight out. It also is just so quiet and comfortable in here. Like, besides the tools rattling around a bit in the back, it is nearly silent despite me ripping pretty hard down this Forest Service road. If you do want to get in trouble, chances are the GX will be able to get you out. We have locking center and rear differentials. Also, we have 4-low if you really want to do some crawling. Also, we have what's called EKDSS. Now, most cars, you have a normal sway bar that connects your right and left suspension together, and that allows you to do cool stuff like not flip on the highway. The problem is when you're off-road, that sway bar can prevent your suspension articulation, and maybe if you have a rock under one tire, your other side will just be in the air. By using hydraulics that are electronically controlled in this, they can decouple the sway bars as needed or give it as much or as little sway depending on your steering inputs, how fast you're going, and stuff like that. You don't really have to think about it. It just happens. So I think we've established that this thing's pretty great off-road, but how much do you sacrifice on-road for that? In a word, it is exceptional. All right, I have it in Sport Plus mode, traction control turned off. Let's give her a nice little floor. Oh! Oh, I love the sound of a V6, even if half of it is just pumped in noise. In here we have a 0 to 60 of 6.2 seconds, and overall it feels really quite quick, even though once you start cornering, it is not quick in the slightest. We'll just lazily go into this corner here. Yep, that's not a very tight corner, and I'm not going to be taking it any faster. This is a 5,600 pound vehicle, and it is a little bit lifted, so unsurprisingly, in the corners, it kind of just feels like it wants to flip, no matter how fancy their KDSS stuff is. Also on the highway, the wind noise is a tiny bit high. I feel like the main reason it's so high is because everything else is just so quiet, but it has a 0.4 coefficient of drag, and you can hear that. Man, overall though, this is a truck that you could just put miles into and not worry about it. We're just driving along here, it's quiet, it's so comfy, these seats are amazing, they have massage functionality. We were in this thing for the better part of 2 hours going out to that lake, and I left this car just feeling awesome. I wasn't sore in the slightest. One of the things that makes this extra good on the road though is the sound system. In here we have 21 speakers, 1,800 watts of power, an 8.8-inch sub in the back, and it sounds freaking incredible. We have coaxial speakers, so mid-range and tweeter, 3 of them up on the front, and the sound stage is just locked up here. It sounds so incredibly good. Now, I have heard some people complain that there isn't a whole lot of bass, but I think that they're just comparing it to cars that have very over-exaggerated bass, because to my ears, this sounds freaking amazing. My one note is that if you're going to really rip it, you might want to drop the treble just a tiny bit, maybe -3 or so, because I did find it a little bit fatiguing if I'm really standing up. In my opinion, it's one of the best sound systems on the market. The B&O and the Volvos might be the only one that beats it. This being a vehicle in 2025, of course it has all kinds of driver assists, and the ones in this are actually really great. In my opinion, this GX has maybe the best adaptive cruise on the market. It's much more conservative than many other ones, like it doesn't accelerate fast, it slows down really soon for the person in front of you, and I really appreciate that because I do not trust my car nearly as much as I trust myself. Okay, here's an example of where the adaptive cruise in this is amazing. There's some construction up ahead which has really slowed things down, and in many cars I would just have to do this myself because it would just be too jerky, slowing down too suddenly, accelerating too suddenly. But in this, I don't have to worry about it. It's very smooth, very nice. Oh, is someone getting impounded? That's why there's a slowdown? RIP, dude. As for the lane centering, it's just okay. I wouldn't say it's bad, but in a vehicle that's this big and heavy, being really smooth around corners matters quite a bit. And I found it kind of jarring at times using the lane centering, so I just turned it off. As for the safety systems themselves, it's a bit of a mixed bag, although from the factory they were annoying as frick. That said though, you can just go in, spend 10 minutes or whatever, turn off most of them, they don't turn back on, and then you're good. The technology in the GX is pretty good. We have a 14-inch touchscreen that is nice and responsive, and for the most part it's just a vessel for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, so even if the software is just fine, you don't really have to worry about it. My only problem is that sometimes my phone doesn't connect properly, and then I need to hold down the power button for 10 seconds, and after it does a little restart, it's come back every single time. In front of me, I also have a 12.3-inch display that gives me my gauge cluster, and it works pretty good. You get 3 presets, although unfortunately you cannot configure them while driving. But one thing that has really annoyed me is that you cannot dim this display and that one at the same time. Like I have some controls on the left here for how bright my gauge cluster is. Okay, very cool. The problem is I also have this absolutely massive 14-inch touchscreen over here, and during the nighttime it is hecking bright even if you turn it down a fair bit, and to turn it down you need to go into a whole bunch of different menus and a whole bunch of stuff like that. I kind of miss smaller screens if I'm honest. Given it performs quite well on and off-road, you probably want to keep this thing running for a while, but have Lexus made that easy on you? Under here, it looks like 6 10mm bolts to get the skid plate off. And now it moves forward and falls on my face. Ugh. With the skid plate removed, we can see that the oil drain plug is right here. And also the oil filter is kind of up in here. That's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, but not the end of the world. While we're down here, we can also see that the transmission gets a skid plate, something that did not exist on the Tacoma TRD Pro. And also we have an absolutely massive 79-liter gas tank, which I guess is needed given the mileage of this is not the best I've ever seen. To fill the oil, you just put it in right there. And for the engine air filters, this looks very, very simple. 4 little clips, and wow, that's it. Then you get to do it for the other side because they're cool and have 2 turbos. Also, the dipstick is just right here, and it eats 0W20. And for the cabin air filter, you just pop open the glove box. There's 2 tiny little clips in here that are lightly annoying to get out to, there we go, and you're in. So the Lexus GX 550. It is incredibly sick and I could not recommend it more, except it's also incredibly expensive. This one right here is 114,000 Canadian dollars. For that kind of money, you need to really think about what you want out of your car. Like, you can have more off-road performance with an F-150 Raptor. You can have much comfier rides in many things that aren't body on frame. And you can also have a fleet of boxes. That's what I might choose. But if what you want is incredible off-road performance and incredible comfort, I do not know if you can do better than the GX 550. Just don't get the stupid luxury version. What a waste of an awesome truck. Just like it would be a waste to get to the end of this video without hitting like, getting subscribed, and our Patreon's linked down below. That is the single best way to support us, and of course, have a great all day.